The Vexor system was burning. 300 warships fought in the darkness of space. Red plasma beams cut through the void. Missiles exploded like angry stars. Ships broke apart, spilling their crews into the cold death of space. This was the Galactic War. It had lasted for 20 years. Two massive empires, the Caldari Federation and the Novice Collective, were destroying each other. And they were taking everyone else down with them. On the planet below, cities were on fire. Civilians ran through burning streets. Children cried for their parents. Mothers searched for their children. It was chaos. It was death. It was the price of war. And Earth watched it all happen. In the Galactic Council chamber, 50 ambassadors gathered for an emergency meeting. High Chancellor Voth, a tall being with gray skin and 6 arms, stood at the central podium. His face showed exhaustion and desperation. "We are losing," he said. His voice echoed through the chamber. 20 years of war. 30 billion dead. Hundreds of worlds destroyed. We need help. We need more military power. Ambassador Krell from the Pelian species stood up. "We have asked every species for help. Most are too weak. Others are too afraid. But there is one species we haven't asked seriously." "Who?" Voth asked, though he already knew the answer. "Earth. The humans." The chamber filled with whispers. Some ambassadors nodded. Others shook their heads. "The humans?" Ambassador Tira said with doubt in her voice. "They have refused every war invitation for 300 years. They are pacifists. Cowards, some say. But they have resources," Krell argued. "They have technology. They have numbers. If we could convince them to join our side." "We've tried," another ambassador shouted. "For 3 centuries, we've invited them to join galactic conflicts. They always say the same thing: we stay neutral. This is not our war. They're useless." Voth raised his hands for silence. "Nevertheless, we must try again. The war is reaching their borders. Soon they will have no choice but to fight. Send the message. Ask Earth one more time." Earth Unified Space Command Headquarters. Admiral Rebecca Chin stood in the war room deep beneath the mountains of Colorado. The room was massive. Walls covered with screens showing every corner of human space. Every ship. Every station. Every defensive position. She was 60 years old. Her hair was gray. Her face showed the lines of a lifetime in military service. But her eyes were sharp, alert, always watching. A young officer approached. "Admiral, we've received another message from the Galactic Council. They want us to join the war. They're offering technology, trade benefits, territory." "Our response?" Chin asked without looking away from the screens. "The standard reply, Admiral. We stay neutral. We don't involve ourselves in galactic conflicts." "Good," Chin said. "Send it." The officer hesitated. "Admiral, if I may ask, why do we always refuse? We have the capability to help. Our military is classified," Chin interrupted. She finally turned to look at him. "Tell me, Lieutenant, how long have you been in Space Command?" 3 years, Admiral." "Then you don't remember the last time humanity got involved in someone else's war?" 350 years ago. Earth sent troops to help the Tellurians fight the Xerxes invasion. You know what happened?" The lieutenant shook his head. "The Tellurians lost anyway. And 50,000 human soldiers died for nothing. In someone else's war. Fighting someone else's battle. Since that day, Earth made a decision. We stay out of galactic wars. We protect our own. We mind our own business." "But Admiral, the Council thinks we're cowards. They think we're weak because we won't fight." Chin smiled. It was a cold smile. A knowing smile. "Let them think that." She walked to a large screen showing the galactic map. Red zones showed the war areas. They were spreading. Getting closer to human space. "For 300 years, Chin said quietly, we've watched every species fight their wars. We've studied their tactics. Their weapons. Their mistakes. We've learned from all of them. And while they fought and died, we've been doing something else." "What, Admiral?" Chin pressed a button. The screen changed. It showed ships. Thousands of them. Hidden in asteroid fields. In deep space. Behind moons. In secret shipyards that didn't appear on any galactic map. The lieutenant's jaw dropped. I didn't know we had that many ships." "Nobody does," Chin said. "That's the point. For 300 years, we've built the most powerful military in the galaxy. Better weapons. Better shields. Better technology. We've prepared for every possible threat. But we stayed quiet. We stayed invisible. We let everyone think we were peaceful. Afraid. But why, Admiral? Why hide our strength? Chin looked at the young officer. Because, Lieutenant, the best weapon is the one your enemy doesn't know you have. We don't want to conquer anyone. We don't want galactic power. We want to be left alone. So we stay quiet. We stay neutral. We let them fight their wars. And we wait. Wait for what? For someone to make a mistake, Chin said. Her voice was ice cold. Someone will eventually think Earth is weak. Someone will eventually think they can attack us, threaten us, take what's ours. On that day the galaxy will learn the truth. On that day they'll understand why we stayed silent for so long. The communication console beeped. Another officer called out, Admiral, new intelligence report. The Zarkonian Dominion has won another major battle. They've conquered the Helio system. Their empire now borders human space. Chin turned to the screen. The Zarkonian Empire was marked in dark purple on the map. It had grown massive over the last 50 years. 20 species conquered. Trillions of beings under their brutal rule. And now they were right next to Earth's territory. Pull up everything we have on the Zarkonians, Chin ordered. Data appeared on the screen. Military strength, 15,000 warships. Tactics, aggressive, brutal, overwhelming force. Leadership, Emperor Zarkis, known for cruelty and arrogance. Admiral, the intelligence officer said nervously, Zarkonian ships have been spotted near our border. They're scanning our defenses. Chin stared at the screen. At the Purple Empire pressing against Earth's borders. Let them look, she said quietly. Let them think they see everything. Let them make their assumptions. She walked back to her command chair and sat down. Around her, officers worked at their stations. Monitoring. Watching. Waiting. For 300 years, Earth had stayed out of galactic wars. For 300 years they had built their strength in silence. And somewhere in the Zarkonian Empire, Emperor Zarkis was making a decision. A decision that would change the galaxy forever. A fatal mistake. Emperor Zarkis sat on his throne of black metal and red crystal. Around him, his war council stood in respectful silence. On the main screen, a map of the galaxy glowed with purple light, all the territories his empire had conquered. 20 species. 50 years of war. 15,000 warships under his command. He was the most powerful ruler in known space. And he knew it. Your Majesty, his chief advisor Vex said with a bow. Our expansion continues successfully. The Helio system is now ours. Their military surrendered without a real fight. Zarkis smiled. His sharp teeth gleamed in the dim light. Of course they did. Everyone surrenders to us eventually. Fear is our greatest weapon. Indeed, Majesty. However, there is one matter that requires your attention. What matter? Vex activated a new section of the map. A small yellow region appeared, bordering the Purple Empire. Human space, Majesty. Earth and its colonies. They share a border with our new territories. Zarkis leaned forward. Humans? I've heard of them. The species that refuses to fight. The cowards who hide from every galactic war. Yes, Majesty. For 300 years they have remained neutral. They trade peacefully but never involve themselves in military conflicts. How many ships do they have? Vex checked his data. Intelligence estimates approximately 5,000 vessels, Majesty. But they're spread across their entire territory. Mostly cargo ships and light patrol craft. Nothing that could challenge our military. Zarkis laughed. A harsh, cruel sound. 5,000? We have 15,000 warships. And theirs are probably old and poorly maintained. Cowards don't invest in military power. What are your orders, Majesty? Zarkis stood from his throne. He walked to the map and placed his hand over the yellow human territories. Earth has resources we need. Minerals. Technology. Worlds. And they're too weak to stop us from taking it. Send our fleet to their border. Let's test their courage. As you command, Majesty. 3 days later, near Earth's border. The human cargo ship Peaceful Horizon moved slowly through space. It was a civilian vessel. No weapons. No military escorts. Just a simple trading ship carrying medical supplies to a human colony. Captain James Park sat in the command chair, drinking coffee and reading reports. It was a routine trip. Boring even. The kind of boring he liked. Captain, his navigator said suddenly. I'm detecting multiple ships ahead. Large signatures. Military class. Park put down his coffee. Identify them. Working on it? Captain, they're Zarkonian warships. 30 of them. They're forming a blockade across our route. Park felt his stomach tighten. The Zarkonians. He had heard stories. Brutal. Aggressive. Dangerous. Open a communication channel, he ordered. Let's talk to them. The screen activated. A Zarkonian officer appeared. His face was covered in scales. His eyes were cold and dead. Human vessel, the officer said. You are in territory claimed by the Zarkonian Empire. Stop your engines and prepare to be boarded. This is neutral space, Park replied calmly. We're a civilian cargo ship on a peaceful trade mission. We mean no harm. All space is Zarkonian space, the officer said. We take what we want. Your ship now belongs to us. Surrender immediately. Park looked at his crew. They were scared. These were scientists, doctors, engineers. Not soldiers. Not warriors. Just people trying to do their jobs. We don't want trouble, Park said carefully. We'll change our course. We'll leave this area. No conflict necessary. Too late for that, the officer replied. You exist in our territory. That is offense enough. You have 10 seconds to abandon your ship, or we destroy it with you inside. Park's hands clenched. There are 200 people on this ship. Civilians? Families? You can't. 5 seconds. Please? We'll give you the ship. Just let us evacuate. 2 seconds. Park looked at his crew one last time. At the young navigator who had just gotten married. At the medical officer who had 3 children back on Earth. At all the innocent people who were about to die. I'm sorry, Park whispered. The Zarkonian ships fired. 30 warships. All their weapons. Focused on one small cargo vessel. The peaceful horizon didn't have shields. Didn't have armor. Didn't have a chance. It exploded in a ball of fire and metal. 200 souls vanished in an instant. The Zarkonian officer smiled. Wait, just like we thought. Send the message to their homeworld. Earth Space Command Headquarters. Admiral Chen was reviewing defense reports when the alarm sounded. Not a drill. A real emergency alarm. Red lights flashed across every screen. Admiral, an officer shouted. We've lost contact with the peaceful horizon. Last known position near Sector 7, close to Zarkonian territory. Chen stood up fast. Lost contact? Define that. All signals stopped simultaneously, Admiral. Hull breach detected on long-range sensors. Debris field matches the ship's composition. Admiral, she's gone. Destroyed. The room went silent. Every officer stopped working. They all looked at Chen. How many crew? Chen asked quietly. 200, Admiral. Civilians. Medical personnel, scientists, cargo handlers. No military personnel on board. Chen closed her eyes. 200 innocent people. Dead. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission. It's from the Zarkonian Empire. Emperor Zarkis himself. Put it on screen. The screen activated. Emperor Zarkis appeared, sitting on his throne with that cruel smile on his face. Humans of Earth, Zarkis said. Your ship was in our territory. We destroyed it. This is a lesson. Your neutrality means nothing. Your peace means nothing. You are weak and the weak do not deserve to exist. Chen's jaw tightened. Her hands gripped the armrest of her chair so hard her knuckles turned white. You have 48 hours, Zarkis continued. Surrender all human worlds along our border. Give us your resources. Give us your colonies. Or we will invade and take them. We have 15,000 warships. You have nothing that can stop us. Do not make us destroy you. The transmission ended. The war room was absolutely silent. Officers stared at their screens. Some had tears in their eyes. All of them felt rage building inside them. Admiral Chen stood up slowly. She walked to a secured console on the wall. She entered her personal code. A compartment opened, revealing a red phone. A direct line to the President of Earth. She picked it up. Mr. President, she said. Her voice was calm but deadly. The Zarkonians have destroyed a civilian ship. 200 innocent humans are dead. Emperor Zarkis has given us 48 hours to surrender our border colonies. He has threatened to invade Earth. She paused. Let those words sink in. Mr. President, for 300 years we stayed out of galactic wars. For 300 years we remained neutral. For 300 years we let everyone think we were weak. Another pause. That ends today. I request permission to activate Protocol Omega. On the other end of the line, the President was silent for a long moment. Then he said one word. Granted. Chin hung up the phone. She turned to face her command staff. Every officer was watching her. Waiting for orders. Activate Protocol Omega, she said clearly. Recall all ships. Wake up all reserves. Open the hidden shipyards. Send the call to every base, every station, every soldier. She walked to the main screen and looked at the purple Zarkonian Empire. For 300 years we prepared for this moment. The moment someone made the fatal mistake of attacking Earth. That moment is here. Today the galaxy learns the truth about humanity. She pressed a button. Across human space, alarms sounded. Soldiers reported to duty. Ships powered up. Hidden bases opened their doors. The sleeping giant was waking up. And it was angry. President Amanda Reeves stood in the Global Assembly Hall. In front of her sat representatives from every nation on Earth. Behind her, a massive screen showed the debris field where the peaceful horizon had been. The hall was packed. Silent. Everyone waited for her to speak. My fellow humans, President Reeves began. Her voice was strong. Clear. Yesterday the Zarkonian Empire destroyed one of our civilian ships. They killed 200 innocent people. Men, women, families. People who were carrying medical supplies to help our colonists. She paused. Let the anger build. Emperor Zarkis has given us an ultimatum. Surrender our border colonies in 48 hours. Or face invasion. He thinks we are weak. He thinks we are cowards because we stayed out of galactic wars for 300 years. Murmurs spread through the assembly. People shifted in their seats. He is wrong, Reeves said. Her voice became harder. Colder. For 300 years we watched the galaxy tear itself apart. We watched empires rise and fall. We watched billions die in pointless wars. And we made a choice. We chose to stay out. To build. To prepare. To become strong enough that no one would dare attack us. She turned to the screen. It changed to show something new. Something that made the entire assembly gasp. Ships. Thousands of them. This is what we built while the galaxy thought we were hiding, Reeves said. This is what 300 years of preparation looks like. 5,000 warships. Not cargo vessels. Not patrol boats. Warships. Built with technology centuries ahead of any other species. Hidden in places no one thought to look. The screen showed massive vessels emerging from craters on the moon. From asteroid bases. From stations hidden in the darkness between planets. Ship after ship, all dark gray with running lights like red eyes. The Zarkonians killed our people, Reeves continued. They threatened our worlds. They declared war on Earth. Today we accept that declaration. Today humanity shows the galaxy who we really are. She looked directly into the camera. Her next words were meant for everyone. Every species. Every empire. Every world. We are not cowards. We are not weak. We are the storm that stayed silent. And today the storm speaks. Across human space. On Luna Base, hidden hangar doors opened for the first time in 50 years. Inside, warships waited. They had been maintained, upgraded, kept ready for this exact moment. Now their engines roared to life. Red lights glowed. Systems activated. Captain Maria Torres stood on the bridge of the UES Thunder. Her ship was a dreadnought, massive, heavily armed, built for one purpose: war. All systems online, Captain, her weapons officer reported. Shields at maximum. Weapons charged. We're ready. Good, Torres said. She looked at her crew. Most were young. They had never seen real combat. But they had trained for this their entire lives. This is what we prepared for. The Zarkonians think they can threaten Earth. Let's teach them otherwise. On Mars, General Marcus Stone led 50,000 ground troops to their assault carriers. These soldiers had trained in secret military bases hidden beneath the red planet's surface. Listen up. Stone shouted to his troops. The Zarkonians killed 200 civilians. They think we're soft because we trade instead of fight. Today we show them what human soldiers can do. The troops cheered. They loaded onto ships. Checked their weapons. Prepared for war. In the asteroid belt, Admiral Chen watched her fleet assemble. 5,000 warships. All converging on one location. All ready to jump to faster-than-light travel. Admiral, Captain Hayes said. All ships report ready. We're waiting for your order. Chen looked at the tactical display. At the 200 names listed on a memorial screen. The crew of the peaceful horizon. The innocent people who died. For them, she said quietly. We do this for them. And for every human who comes after. Today we send a message. You don't attack Earth and live to tell about it. She activated the fleet-wide channel. 5,000 ships. 500,000 crew members. All listening. This is Admiral Chen to all vessels. 300 years ago, Earth decided to stay out of galactic wars. We watched. We learned. We prepared. The galaxy thought we were cowards. They thought we were weak. They were wrong. She paused. The Zarkonian Empire has attacked us. Killed our people. Threatened our homes. They wanted a war. They're about to get one. But not the war they expected. They have 15,000 ships. We have 5,000. They think numbers win battles. They're about to learn that technology, training, and determination matter more than numbers. Another pause. She let her words sink in. We jump to Zarkonian space in 10 minutes. When we arrive, we show them no mercy. We show them what happens when you attack Earth. We show them why we stayed silent for 300 years. All ships, prepare for faster-than-light jump. Target, Zarkonian border. Let's go to war. 5,000 ships activated their FTL drives. Space began to twist and bend around them. Across the galaxy, the galactic news networks were broadcasting everything. Every species watched as Earth's hidden fleet revealed itself. In the Galactic Council chamber, ambassadors stared at their screens in shock. 5,000 warships, Ambassador Krell whispered. Where did they come from? Where were they hiding? Everywhere, another ambassador said. In their own solar system. Right under our noses. We never saw them because we never looked. We thought humans were peaceful. On the screen, the human fleet jumped to FTL travel. 5,000 ships disappearing in flashes of light. High Chancellor Voth sat down slowly. They weren't cowards. They were waiting. Building. Preparing for someone to give them a reason to fight. The Zarkonians gave them that reason, Ambassador Tira said quietly. Zarkonian homeworld. Emperor Zarkis watched the same broadcast. His advisors stood around him, looking worried. Your Majesty, Vex said nervously. The humans, they have more ships than we thought. And those designs. I don't care about their designs. Zarkis shouted. We have 15,000 warships. They have 5,000. The numbers are on our side. But Majesty, their technology. Numbers win wars. Zarkis slammed his fist on the armrest. Send our border fleet to intercept them. 10,000 ships. That should be more than enough to crush 5,000 human vessels. Show them what happens when weak species challenge the Zarkonian Empire. Vex bowed and left to give the orders. But he couldn't shake the feeling of dread in his stomach. Outside the throne room, he spoke to another advisor in whispers. The humans stayed out of wars for 300 years. Built all those ships in secret. What if they were never cowards? What do you mean? What if they were just waiting? Waiting for someone to attack them? Waiting for an excuse to show what they really are. The other advisor looked pale. Then we just gave them that excuse. The human fleet traveled through faster-than-light space. Heading toward Zarkonian territory. Heading toward war. In her command chair, Admiral Chen looked at the countdown timer. 20 minutes until they arrived. 20 minutes until the galaxy learned the truth. She thought about the peaceful horizon. About Captain Park and his crew. About the 200 innocent lives lost. We're coming, she whispered. Justice is coming. The timer counted down. 15 minutes. 10 minutes. 5 minutes. The Zarkonian border fleet was waiting. 10,000 ships against 5,000. They were confident. Ready. Sure of victory. They had no idea what was about to hit them. Space twisted. Reality bent. 5,000 human warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel. They arrived at the Zarkonian border in perfect formation. Organized. Disciplined. Ready. On the bridge of the flagship UES Retribution, Admiral Chen looked at her tactical display. The Zarkonian fleet was right where intelligence said it would be. 10,000 warships. Arranged in a standard defensive wall formation. Distance to enemy fleet? Chen asked. 50,000 kilometers, Admiral, the tactical officer replied. They're forming attack formation. Weapons charging. Good, Chen said calmly. Let them fire first. I want everyone to see who the aggressor is. Record everything. Send the feed to all galactic networks. Across the galaxy, billions of beings watched the scene unfold on their screens. Two fleets. Facing each other. About to collide. Zarkonian border fleet flagship Dark Conquest. Commander Thrax stood on his bridge, looking at the human fleet with contempt. 10,000 against 5,000, he said with a cruel smile. This will be quick. Commander, his sensor officer said. Those human ships, their energy signatures are very high. Higher than anything in our database. So what? Thrax snapped. High energy doesn't win battles. Firepower wins battles. And we have twice as many guns as they do. He activated the fleet-wide channel. All ships prepare to fire. Target the human vessels. On my command, unleash everything. We'll blow them out of space before they can even... A transmission came through. It was Admiral Chen's voice, broadcast on all frequencies. Zarkonian fleet, this is Admiral Rebecca Chen of Earth. 3 days ago you destroyed a civilian vessel. You killed 200 innocent humans. You then threatened to invade our worlds. We are here to respond to that threat. This is your only chance to surrender. Power down your weapons. Leave the sector. Or face the consequences. Thrak laughed. Did you hear that? They want US to surrender. They have half our numbers and they're making demands. He opened his channel. Human Admiral, you are outnumbered 2-1. You stayed out of galactic wars because you are weak. Now you will die like the cowards you are. Very well, Chen replied. Her voice was ice cold. You made your choice. Don't say we didn't warn you. Thrak cut the transmission. All ships. Fire. 10,000 Zarkonian warships fired at once. Thousands of plasma beams lit up the darkness. Missiles by the tens of thousands streaked through space. Energy weapons, kinetic weapons, everything they had. A wall of death rushed toward the human fleet. On the Retribution, Chen watched the incoming fire calmly. Activate defensive grid. Full shields. The human ships didn't move. Didn't dodge. They just waited. The Zarkonian weapons hit. And nothing happened. The human shields absorbed everything. Every plasma beam scattered harmlessly. Every missile exploded against invisible barriers. Every kinetic round bounced off like rain hitting steel. Not a single human ship took damage. On the Dark Conquest, Thrak stared at his screen in disbelief. Impossible. We hit them with everything. How are their shields that strong? Commander, their shield technology, it's far beyond ours. Centuries beyond ours. Then fire again. Keep firing until... Commander, the human fleet is returning fire. 5,000 human warships fired. But they didn't fire thousands of shots like the Zarkonians did. They fired precisely. Calculated. Each ship targeted specific enemy vessels. The human weapons were different. They were magnetic accelerators that launched solid metal projectiles at incredible speeds. The rounds moved so fast they were almost invisible. And when they hit, they punched straight through Zarkonian shields like they weren't even there. 50 Zarkonian ships exploded in the first second. 100 ships in the second. 200 ships in the third second. Thrak watched in horror as his fleet was torn apart. Evasive maneuvers. Scatter formation. There. A human round hit the Dark Conquest. It punched through the starboard hull. Systems exploded. The bridge filled with smoke and fire. Hull breach on decks 5-12, an officer screamed. We're losing pressure. Another round hit. This time it struck the engine core. The Dark Conquest exploded into a ball of fire and metal. Commander Thrak's last thought was, we made a terrible mistake. Yes, retribution. Admiral Chen watched the battle calmly. It wasn't really a battle. It was target practice. Status report, she ordered. 400 enemy ships destroyed, Admiral. 0 damage to our fleet. Enemy formation is breaking apart. They're trying to retreat. Negative, Chen said. Don't let them retreat. Pursue and engage. I want every ship that fired on the peaceful horizon destroyed. Every single one. The human fleet advanced. Their movements were coordinated. Perfect. Like a machine built for war. The Zarkonian ships tried to run. Some turned and fled at maximum speed. Others tried to fight back desperately. Some even tried to surrender. It didn't matter. The human fleet moved through them like wolves through sheep. Ship after ship exploded. The space between the two fleets became a graveyard of twisted metal and frozen bodies. Admiral, the communications officer said. We're receiving transmissions from the Zarkonian ships. They're begging for mercy. Asking us to stop. Chen thought about the peaceful horizon. About Captain Park trying to negotiate. Trying to leave peacefully. About the Zarkonian officer giving them 10 seconds before opening fire. Did they give Captain Park mercy? Chen asked quietly. No, Admiral. Then they get what they gave. Continue the attack. Across the galaxy. In the Galactic Council chamber, ambassadors watched in stunned silence. The battle had lasted 15 minutes. When it was over, the entire Zarkonian border fleet was destroyed. 10,000 ships. Gone. The human fleet? Not a single loss. Not even serious damage. This is impossible, Ambassador Krell whispered. No species has technology that advanced. No species is that powerful. Earth is, High Chancellor Voth said quietly. We just never knew it because they never showed us. On the screen the human fleet regrouped. They weren't returning home. They weren't celebrating their victory. They were moving deeper into Zarkonian space. They're not stopping, Ambassador Tira said with fear in her voice. They're invading Zarkonian homeworld. Emperor Zarkis watched the footage of the battle. His face was pale. His hands shook. 10,000 ships, he whispered. They destroyed 10,000 ships in 15 minutes. Vex stood beside him equally terrified. Your Majesty, we must negotiate. We must surrender. We cannot fight them. Our military is no match for. No. Zarkis shouted. He stood from his throne. We are the Zarkonian Empire. We have conquered 20 species. We do not surrender to anyone. But Majesty, recall all fleets. Every ship we have. Bring them to the homeworld. We'll make our stand here. 5,000 human ships cannot defeat our entire military. Majesty, they just destroyed 10,000 ships without taking damage. How can we do it? Zarkis screamed. Bring every ship home. We'll show these humans what the Zarkonian Empire is truly capable of. Vex bowed and left. But as he walked through the corridors, he knew the truth. The Empire was doomed. They had made the fatal mistake of attacking Earth, of waking the sleeping giant, of giving humanity a reason to show their true power. And now they would pay the price. On the Retribution, Admiral Chen looked at the star map. The Zarkonian homeworld was marked in red. 3 days' travel at current speed. Set course for the Zarkonian capital, she ordered. Maximum speed. We end this where it started. Admiral, Captain Hayes asked quietly, are we really going to invade their homeworld? That's an escalation beyond anything. They killed our civilians, Chen interrupted. They threatened Earth. They wanted war. Now they have it. And we don't fight half wars. We fight to win. Completely. Absolutely. So that no one ever makes this mistake again. The human fleet jumped to faster-than-light travel, heading for the heart of the Zarkonian Empire. Emperor Zarkis had wanted to test Earth's courage. Now he was about to face Earth's wrath. The human fleet moved through Zarkonian space like a storm, system by system, planet by planet. They didn't stop. They didn't slow down. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the Retribution watching the tactical map. Red dots marked Zarkonian military bases. One by one those dots turned gray. Destroyed. Captured. Eliminated. Status report on the Vexor system, she ordered. Zarkonian garrison destroyed, Admiral, Captain Hayes replied. 300 enemy ships engaged us. All destroyed. We lost 0 ships. The planet's orbital defenses are disabled. Ground forces are ready to land. Chen nodded. Proceed with occupation. Establish humanitarian aid stations. The civilians on that planet aren't our enemy. Only their military is. Yes, Admiral. This was the pattern. For 3 days the human fleet had moved through Zarkonian territory. Every military installation was destroyed. Every warship was eliminated. But civilian populations were left alone. Protected even. Admiral, the communications officer said. We're receiving a message from Emperor Zarkis. He's requesting negotiations. Chen raised an eyebrow. Now he wants to talk? After destroying our civilian ship? After threatening Earth? Put him through. Emperor Zarkis appeared on the screen. He looked different from before. His confidence was gone. His face showed fear. Desperation. Admiral Chen, Zarkis said. His voice was shaking. We can negotiate. We can discuss terms. There's no need for more death. We can. You should have negotiated before killing 200 innocent humans, Chen interrupted coldly. You should have talked before threatening to invade Earth. You wanted war, Emperor. Now you have it. Please? We made a mistake. We didn't know. You didn't know we were strong? Chen asked. So you only attack species you think are weak? That makes it worse, not better. No negotiations. No terms. We're coming to your homeworld. Prepare yourself. She cut the transmission. Hayes looked at her. Admiral, the Zarkonian capital is heavily defended. They've recalled their entire military there. Intelligence reports over 13,000 ships orbiting the planet. Plus the strongest planetary shields in their empire. Good, Chen said. Let them gather everything in one place. It'll be easier to finish this. Zarkonian homeworld, 3 days later. Emperor Zarkis stood in his war room, surrounded by his remaining military commanders. On the screens, 13,000 warships orbited the planet in defensive formation. "This is every ship we have left," General Mock said. "Every warship in the Empire is here, defending the homeworld." "And the planetary shields?" Zarkis asked. "Online and at maximum power, Your Majesty. Our shields have never been penetrated. Not in 500 years. The humans cannot get through them." Zarkis looked at the defensive grid. Massive shield generators on the surface. Enough power to protect the entire planet from orbital bombardment. "We're safe here," he said, trying to convince himself. "They can't touch us. Even with their advanced weapons, they can't penetrate our shields. We'll hold them off until they give up and leave." Vex, standing in the corner, said nothing. But he didn't believe they were safe. Not anymore. Alarms suddenly sounded across the planet. "They're here," a sensor officer shouted. "Human fleet detected. They just dropped out of FTL travel." On the screen, space twisted. The human fleet appeared. 5,000 warships. Arranged in perfect battle formation. But they weren't alone. "Additional contacts," the sensor officer yelled. "More human ships. Thousands more." The screen showed reinforcements. Earth had sent more ships. The fleet now numbered 8,000 vessels. Zarkis felt his heart sink. How do they have so many ships?" 300 years of building, Your Majesty," Vex said quietly. "While we fought wars, they prepared. While we conquered the weak, they became strong." Admiral Chen's voice broadcast across all frequencies. Every Zarkonian, military and civilian, heard her words. "Emperor Zarkis, you destroyed the peaceful horizon. You killed 200 innocent humans. You threatened to invade Earth. You wanted war. Now you have it. This is your last chance. Surrender your military. Face justice for your crimes. Or we will come down there and take you." Zarkis grabbed the microphone. "You cannot touch us. Our shields protect us. You cannot penetrate them. Leave now or my ships will destroy you." Silence for a moment. Then Chen replied. "Very well. You chose this." The human fleet opened fire. But not at the Zarkonian ships. They fired at the planet. At the shield generators. Zarkis laughed. "You see? Our shields are holding. Your weapons cannot." He stopped talking. The human missiles were different. They didn't explode on impact with the shields. Instead, they passed through them. Like the shields weren't even there. "Impossible," General Mox shouted. "Nothing can penetrate our shields." "These can," Vex said. He understood now. "They've been studying our technology for 300 years. They know how our shields work. They built weapons specifically designed to counter them." The missiles hit the shield generators on the surface. Massive explosions erupted across the planet. One by one, the generators exploded. In 30 seconds, the impenetrable shields collapsed. The Zarkonian homeworld was exposed. "All ships," Zarkis screamed. "Attack the human fleet. Destroy them." The 13,000 Zarkonian warships charged. It was a desperate attack. A last stand. Everything they had. The human fleet met them calmly. What followed wasn't a battle. It was an execution. Human ships moved with perfect coordination. Their weapons fired with devastating accuracy. Their shields absorbed every Zarkonian shot. In 20 minutes, 5,000 Zarkonian ships were destroyed. In 40 minutes, 10,000 were gone. In 1 hour, the entire Zarkonian military was eliminated. 13,000 ships. Reduced to debris and fire. The human fleet remained. 8,000 strong. Undamaged. Imperial Palace. Zarkis stood in his throne room watching the sky through the windows. Human ships descended through the atmosphere. Landing craft by the hundreds. Bringing soldiers. Bringing occupation forces. "Your Majesty," Vex said quietly, "we must surrender. There's nothing left to fight with." Zarkis grabbed the communications console. His hands shook. He broadcast to the human fleet. "Admiral Chen, I surrender. We surrender. Please. Mercy. I'll give you anything. Territory, resources, technology. Please stop." Admiral Chen's face appeared on the screen. Her expression was cold. Empty of sympathy. "You showed no mercy to the peaceful horizon," she said. "Captain Park begged you to let his crew evacuate. You gave him 10 seconds before you fired. You killed 200 innocent people. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Please." "You did make a mistake," Chen said. "You attacked Earth. You gave us a reason to show the galaxy what we really are. Now you face the consequences. What will you do to us? Your military is destroyed. Your empire is dissolved. You and your war council will be tried for war crimes. Your conquered species will be freed. Your people will be placed under galactic protection until a democratic government can be established. And me? You will spend the rest of your life in prison. Thinking about the 200 humans you killed. Thinking about the fatal mistake you made. The transmission ended. Outside, human soldiers landed in the capital city. General Stone led his troops through the streets. Zarkonian soldiers tried to resist. But it was hopeless. Human weapons were too advanced. Human tactics were too perfect. Human soldiers were too well trained. In 6 hours the capital was secured. Emperor Zarkis was arrested in his throne room. Vex and the other commanders surrendered peacefully. The Zarkonian Empire had fallen. It took them 50 years to build their empire. It took humanity 3 weeks to destroy it. And the entire galaxy watched. What? Understood. Earth had stayed silent for 300 years. Not because they were weak, but because they were waiting. Waiting for someone to make the fatal mistake. The Zarkonians made that mistake. And they paid for it with everything. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so full. Every ambassador was present. Even species that rarely attended council meetings had sent representatives. They all came for one reason. To talk about Earth. High Chancellor Voth stood at the central podium. Behind him, massive screens showed footage of the Zarkonian homeworld. Human ships in the sky. Human soldiers in the streets. The mighty Zarkonian Empire, conquered and occupied. The war lasted 3 weeks, Voth said. His voice echoed through the silent chamber. 3 weeks from the moment humans declared war to the moment Emperor Zarkis surrendered. The Zarkonian Empire spent 50 years building their power. Earth destroyed it in 21 days. Ambassador Krell from the Pelian species stood up. His hands were shaking. How is this possible? The Zarkonians had 15,000 warships. They conquered 20 species. They were one of the strongest military powers in known space. And Earth crushed them like insects, Ambassador Tira added. She looked scared. Everyone looked scared. We invited humans to join our wars for 300 years. Every time they refused. We thought they were cowards. We thought they were weak. We were wrong. Wrong doesn't begin to describe it, said Ambassador Dren. He activated his personal console. Data appeared on the main screens. I've been investigating Earth's history. Look at this. The screens showed Earth's military development over 300 years. Ship production numbers. Technology advancement. Training programs. Research facilities. For 3 centuries, Dren continued, while the galaxy fought wars Earth watched. They studied every battle. Analyzed every tactic. Learned from everyone's mistakes. And they built a military specifically designed to counter every known threat. They were learning from us, Krell whispered. Using our wars as training material. Exactly, Dren said. Every war we fought, every weapon we used, every strategy we employed, they studied it all. They became military experts without ever fighting a single battle. And while they studied, they built weapons we've never seen before. Ships with shields that cannot be penetrated. Weapons that pass through enemy shields. Technology centuries ahead of ours. Ambassador Yaira, the scholarly representative, pulled up more data. But that's not all. Look at their fleet numbers. We thought they had 5,000 ships. They actually have over 12,000. They've been hiding most of their military in secret bases. Locations we never knew existed. The chamber filled with worried whispers. 12,000 ships. All with superior technology. All with highly trained crews. They didn't just prepare for war, Yaira continued. They prepared for total dominance. They built a military that could defeat any threat. Any empire. Any alliance. They became the most powerful force in known space. And they did it in complete secrecy. High Chancellor Voth raised his hands for silence. The question before us is simple. What do we do about Earth? What can we do? Krell asked desperately. They just destroyed the Zarkonians. We saw what happened. 10,000 ships destroyed in minutes. Their technology is too advanced. Their military is too strong. They're a threat, Ambassador Mora said firmly. She was from a militaristic species. Category 1 threat level. The highest classification. Any species that can conquer an empire in 3 weeks must be treated as dangerous. But they didn't conquer, Tira argued. They invaded, yes. But they're not keeping Zarkonian territory. They're freeing the conquered species. Helping establish new governments. They're acting as liberators, not conquerors. For now, Mora replied. But what about tomorrow? What about next year? They have 12,000 warships. They could dominate the entire galaxy if they wanted. But they don't want to, Tira said. That's the point. They stayed out of wars for 300 years. They could have conquered anyone anytime. But they chose peace. Until someone attacked them, Krell said quietly. Then they showed no mercy. They destroyed an entire empire. What if someone accidentally offends them? What if there's a misunderstanding? Will they destroy us too? The chamber erupted in arguments. Some ambassadors wanted to classify Earth as a threat. Others wanted to ally with Earth immediately. Some wanted to avoid Earth completely. Voth slammed his gavel. Silence. The chamber quieted. We will vote, Voth said. Resolution 7 Alpha. Earth shall be classified as a Category 1 threat, and all member species are advised to avoid military engagement with human forces. All in favor? Hands raised across the chamber. Many ambassadors voted yes. All opposed. Other hands raised. The vote was close. Voth counted the results. The resolution passes by a narrow margin. Earth is now officially classified as a Category 1 threat to Galactic. The chamber doors opened. Everyone turned. Admiral Rebecca Chin walked in. She was alone. No guards. No escorts. Just one human woman in a military uniform, walking calmly into a chamber full of ambassadors who had just voted to classify her species as a threat. The chamber went completely silent. Chin walked to the center of the room. She stood in the speaking circle, looking at all the ambassadors around her. High Chancellor Voth, she said calmly. Thank you for allowing me to address the council. Voth looked uncomfortable. Admiral Chen, you heard the vote? I did, Chin replied. Earth is now a Category 1 threat. I understand why you voted that way. You're scared. You saw what we did to the Zarkonians. You're wondering if you're next. No one spoke. But many ambassadors nodded slightly. Let me be clear, Chin continued. Earth has no interest in conquest. No interest in empire. No interest in domination. We stayed out of galactic wars for 300 years because we wanted peace. We built our military for defense, not aggression. Then why did you destroy the Zarkonians so completely? Ambassador Mora challenged. You didn't just defeat them. You eliminated them. Chen's face became hard. Cold. They killed 200 innocent humans. They destroyed a medical ship. They threatened to invade Earth. They chose war. We simply finished what they started. And if another species threatens you? Mora pressed. What then? More total war. Chin looked directly at Mora. Yes. If you attack Earth, if you threaten our people, if you give us no choice but war, then we will respond with overwhelming force. We will not fight small wars. We will not fight half measures. We will fight to win. Completely. Absolutely. So that the threat is eliminated and never returns. Fear rippled through the chamber. But, Chin continued, her voice softening slightly, we don't want war. We never wanted war. That's why we stayed neutral for 300 years. We want to trade. To cooperate. To coexist peacefully with all species. She looked around the chamber at every ambassador. You have a choice, she said. You can fear us. You can classify us as threats. You can avoid us. Or you can accept us as allies. Partners. Friends. Earth offers friendship to those who want it. But we also promise this. Leave us alone and we'll leave you alone. Threaten us and you'll face the same fate as the Zarkonians. The chamber was silent. The choice is yours, Chin said. Choose wisely. She turned and walked toward the exit. Admiral Chin, Voth called out. Chin stopped and turned back. Will you accept a seat on this council? Voth asked. A permanent seat for Earth? Chin smiled slightly. Yes. But on one condition. What condition? You stop calling us a threat. And start calling us what we really are, the peacekeepers. Because that's what we intend to be. We'll protect those who need protecting. We'll stop those who threaten peace. We'll be the force that keeps aggressive empires in check. She paused. The galaxy needs guardians. Earth will be those guardians. If you'll let us. 6 months later, Zarkonian homeworld. The capital city looked different now. The burn marks from the invasion were gone. Buildings had been repaired. Streets were clean. Children played in parks that had been war zones just months ago. But the biggest change wasn't physical. It was political. In what used to be Emperor Zarkis's throne room, a new government was forming. Representatives from every Zarkonian region sat around a large circular table. No throne. No emperor. Just citizens trying to build something better. General Marcus Stone stood at the back of the room watching. His soldiers had stayed to maintain peace during the transition. to make sure the democratic process worked. A young Zarkonian woman named Sarah stood up to speak. For 50 years we lived under Zarkis's rule. He told us we were building an empire. That conquest made us strong. That the weak deserved to be crushed. She looked around the room at her fellow Zarkonians. He was wrong. He led us to ruin. We lost everything because one man's arrogance made him attack a species he didn't understand. Today we have a choice. We can rebuild as an empire again. Or we can build something new. Something peaceful. The representatives voted. It was unanimous. The Zarkonian Republic was born. After the meeting, Sarah approached General Stone. "Thank you," she said quietly, "for not destroying us completely. For giving us a chance to change." Stone nodded. "Earth doesn't want to destroy civilizations. We want to stop tyrants. Your people aren't our enemy. Zarkis was. He's in prison now. For life. He'll never hurt anyone again." "Good," Stone said. "That's justice." Former Zarkonian territories, 20 freed species. Across what used to be the Zarkonian Empire, 20 species were celebrating their freedom. Species that had been conquered, enslaved, forced to serve. Now they were free. On the planet Helios 7, President Vorn stood before his people. Millions had gathered to hear him speak. "For 30 years we lived under Zarkonian occupation," Vorn said. "They took our resources. They destroyed our culture. They killed anyone who resisted. We thought we would never be free." He paused. Emotion filled his voice. "Then Earth came. They destroyed the Zarkonians in 3 weeks. They freed us. And they asked for nothing in return. No territory. No tribute. Just our promise to govern ourselves peacefully." The crowd cheered. Tears of joy ran down thousands of faces. "The humans could have kept us as colonies," Vorn continued. "They had the military power to rule the entire sector. But they didn't. They gave us back our freedom. Today we celebrate liberation. And we thank the species who stayed silent for 300 years, waiting for the moment when their strength was truly needed." Similar scenes played out across 20 worlds. 20 species, freed from tyranny, grateful to Earth.